Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the official podcast that is back from its Thanksgiving vacation kind of thing. Ate a lot of turkey. I'm full. Okay, I didn't eat that much turkey. I'm more of a green bean casserole kind of guy. But that is who is hosting. Thanks, everybody. This is episode 110. 110. Before I get into the guest for today, of course, I got to talk about my sponsor, Comic Bento. I'm very happy to have them along. If you don't know what Comic Bento is, it's the latest labor of comic book love from Blind Ferret Entertainment. What it is, every month, people who subscribe, they receive a box of random graphic novels, and every month there's a theme to them. This November that passed, it was video games, and I just got mine in, and they're awesome. I'm gonna read the hell out of that Tomb Raider comic book. I was so excited to get that. So just if you want to subscribe, click on the link, of course, and get back into, if you're like me and who got out of reading comic books, let's get back in it, okay? Comic Bento. But let's get into my guest for today. I have a wonderful guest, a wonderful guest, really cool guy, Mr. Tyler Coe. He works at Rooster Teeth as the floor manager, but he also is the host of the Rooster Teeth show / podcast, Sportsball, where they talk all about sports and all goods of sports. Nothing but sports. No, but they also do funny sketches. And he took the time out of his busy work schedule, and I really appreciate that, Tyler. I still got to have him back on, though, because I'm selfish. So, yeah, let's get into this episode. Sit back, relax, and Chris, cue that music, please. Hello.
Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Awesome. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. What's going on with you?
Just got done editing a project, and that's pretty much it, except for this. Sorry about yesterday. It's been a crazy week. We've been really busy, so.
I totally get the fact that you guys are always busy. I'm surprised whenever there's free time.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's been pretty crazy at the end of the year, just trying to get in as many projects as we can, getting everything fixed and ready to go for 2016. So, but I'm ready to do this, man. So, whenever you want me to start, we can do it.
I'm sorry. I have some news for you. It already started.
Oh, okay.
It's off and running. Can you, for the people at home, could you run me what a basic day for you is?
Well, basic day for me has kind of changed. It did start off, and for people that don't know, I'm the floor manager here at Rooster Teeth. That's my number one priority besides Sportsball. So basically what that is here in our broadcast department, we have a huge area where all of our sets live, where we have our camera set up, all of our audio equipment, and that's booms, that's goosenecks. And basically what I do every day is set up for what shows we're going to shoot Monday through Friday. Now, that's always kind of a mixed bag, and you're never sure what you're really going to get because we shoot so many different shows, and things have to be fluid. Sometimes we'll switch up days. We shoot ahead for shows. So Monday through Friday, we're doing the RT podcast, we're doing Sportsball, we're doing the Patch, we're doing Free Play, we're doing Video Game Club, and now on Fridays we're doing AH Podcast, and then of course On the Spot, and we're hoping to add some more shows actually. So it's going to be interesting to see what 2016 brings. But my day-to-day is just make sure everything's ready to go, and that's from the set to the camera shots to the lights to the props, just every little tiny detail you could possibly think of. It's my job to make sure that everything's on point, and we try and be as perfect as we can for every single show.
There we go. And so, how did you get into like rewind? Was like production something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I guess in some small way. My road to Rooster Teeth has been really strange, really random.
Hmm.
A lot of luck involved in between too. When I was younger, I used to do stage productions, just putting on little plays, coming up with skits and stuff like that. And that eventually turned into a love of film. Did film school for a spell, went to university here in Texas studying mass communications, and found my way into radio.
Yeah.
And for the past 4 years, prior to this one, I was a producer and host for ESPN Radio and for a local station here in town for talking sports,
Okay.
namely sports in Texas. You know, the Texas Longhorns, Cowboys, your NBA teams, the Spurs and the Rockets, stuff like that.
Right.
And that kind of transitioned into this job because I got my foot in the door. With Patrick Salazar, who had interviewed me before for a position that it didn't work out, but I stuck with it and talked to him throughout the year, just checking in, saying, hey, I just want to see how things are going over there. Let me know if you ever need any help. And he finally found me a spot, and that was floor manager to come in here, run the floor, and then eventually do a sports show. And that has turned into Sportsball.
Right. Okay. Now, I noticed you didn't say the Texans. Was that on purpose?
Well, the Texans, no, any
Okay.
Texans, any Texas sport, and really any sport in general. And that was one of the bigger draws for me to come to Rooster Teeth and do a sports show is that I was getting tired. It was getting bored. It was getting stale
Hmm.
talking about Texas teams all the time. I love
Right.
talking about every sport. I like talking about every team. Whatever your team is, I have an interest in it, and I know something about it. And I wanted to, I guess, get a bigger stage to talk about all those things because there's sports are great, no matter what the sport is, no matter how silly you think it is or stupid.
Hmm.
I could play it. I could have an interest in it. So I think that was kind of the big draw for me. Is like I want to get. I love Texas. I love the state of Texas. You're not going to
Yeah.
find a more proud Texan than myself. But I really wanted to talk about more and reach out to more people and get their opinions. And I think that's what we've been able to do so far with Sportsball.
And it's been a good move because I mean now Rooster Teeth has divided itself into many genres, and I mean sports is one of those things that before you arrived, it wasn't really there. So
Yeah, and one of the bigger goals for the company moving forward is to have more variety, have
mhm.
more flavors, if you will. And what better place to start than sports? Because whether or not you watch sports or like sports, sports is a part of your day to day. I mean,
Mhm.
it is for everyone all over the world, not just here in America. Um, and doing sports ball. Is something I take a lot of pride in because it is something that is so new here, and it was really unknown territory. I had no idea what the reaction was going to be,
Mhm.
but we thought that we could find a home here, and that we could actually that we could strike a chord with fans because the stereotypes of jock and nerd they don't exist in my
Right,
eyes. Like
right.
I don't think those two things really exist, and if anything, they're somewhat the same, if not completely at all. Like I was a kid who grew up playing baseball. I played basketball, even though I'm like extremely short. I played
Mhm.
football, even though I'm extremely small.
Uh-huh.
But I played everything. I still play golf. I play softball. I also play video games every single night and have for most of my entire life. Like
Mhm.
I grew up, my favorite game growing up was, besides Pokemon on Game Boy, which was awesome, it
Right.
was at 64, Legend of Zelda. Like, I still play Legend of Zelda. Probably when I go home tonight, I'm going to play GTA 5 just because it's just such a good time kill, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think that was one of the bigger draws as well, is that I kind of wanted to knock down those stereotypes and that that barrier that's been put up saying, well, if you like sports, you can't like video games. And that's embarrassing to talk about that. Or if you're a quote unquote nerd, you can't like sports. That's ridiculous. Like you should be able to do everything. I don't like that we have to split up the world into red and blue, if you will,
Right.
and choosing sides. You should be able to do whatever you want and like whatever you want. So I'm somebody who I'm a jock, I guess, in that I play sports and I love video games and I'm a nerdy guy. So I think that's kind of where we're trying to take sports ball is make it something that anybody can come and sit down.
Hmm.
Anybody can be a part of it. Your opinion is valid. We want to hear it. Nobody's left out. Everybody's a part of the conversation, and we're all family. That's the feel that I want people to have when they watch the show, when they're a part of the show, whether that's calling in or texting in or sending us sports memorabilia, which has been so cool, or just the people we meet who we get to interact with at college game day or just fans around town. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, and like you said earlier about the gap between nerds and jocks, I feel like the whole fantasy leagues have totally helped bridge that gap because the back in the day the jocks were like, oh, look at those guys pushing those numbers. Now the
Yeah, yeah.
fantasy leagues, they're all numbers, so it's like, well, now I did fantasy football this year. I'm still doing it. It's my first year ever.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Eh,
Well, welcome to the suck because it is going to destroy your life.
No, no.
It's destroyed mine for years.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Because I've been talking about doing it for years now, but nobody would ever let me do this. I said the only way I would do fantasy football is if I could draft the entire Cleveland Browns team. And you know what? Out of 14 teams, I'm in 10th place. So take that.
That's awesome.
Although a bye week's coming up, so I had to quickly find Frankenstein a team, but it's not that bad. It's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. I think you're right. It has bridged the gap. Fantasy sports definitely have done that. Whether it's common thread sports where it's football, baseball, basketball, but
Hmm.
then you even talk about stuff like League of Legends and
Yeah.
professional gaming, and I loved it. It was a few months ago when ESPN2 actually put a League of Legends
Mm.
tournament on their programming, and like it blew people's minds. Like people were furious about it.
Right. Right.
They hated it, and then other people loved that it was on. And the big thing is that we all fear. What we don't understand is what we fear. That's
Correct.
what that comes from, is because we just don't understand it. And I think regardless, people need to be ready for esports. They need to be ready for professional gaming because I think it's going to get bigger. I think
Hmm.
it's going to get better. The stage is going to grow. And I think it's something exciting that I think you need to be proactive with it. And I think it's just another one of those things that it's like everybody's like getting on board. So it's exciting because for me personally, I do not agree or like the current model and mindset that some of the bigger sports outlets have, namely ESPN. I think the direction that the company is going in is one that is going to see them eventually fail. I think you've seen other people throw their hat into the ring saying we can do just as good of a job, if not better.
Hmm.
You look at Fox Sports 1, you look at what we're trying to do, you look at podcasts online that are continuing to grow and giving you really different takes that you've never had before because ESPN and the big guys are the ones that control the narrative. They decide how you feel, what you think about players, about teams. There is only black and white. There is no gray area with them.
Hmm.
I talked about this on the show this past week, how it's deplorable that Grantland, one of the most amazing sites um, out there, or used to be out there, I guess now,
Yeah.
gets shut down, and Skip Bayless gets $4 million to renew his contract with ESPN. That tells you exactly where they're going. They're going for shock and awe. They're not going in the direction that they used to, which is they were the outlier. They were the rebels. They were the ones that were fighting for the little guy, and now that's not the case.
What you said earlier that you are the biggest number one Texas state fan. Would that be safe to assume all your teams are Texas teams?
Well, I grew up here in Austin.
Hmm.
I'm one of the rare ones that are still left in the city that are from here.
Right.
And so for me growing up, it was all about the Texas Longhorns. I don't have any I'm not a fan of any other pro teams.
Okay.
I only have one team, and that's the Longhorns. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, and swimming, whatever else, Quidditch.
Quidditch, right?
I just root for them, so that's pretty much it. I don't necessarily hate any team. I mean, you talk about fantasy sports, I'm a fan of all 32 teams in the NFL, man. Like
Hmm.
if I don't care who who what team, it doesn't matter. Like I like them all. So if I got a player on a team, I'm a fan. So that's usually the way that works.
There you go. I'm just going to say this now. Browns going to the Super Bowl. It's going to happen.
That's awesome.
2016. It's gonna. I'm
Yeah,
not a Browns fan, but I just like the idea of them going to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
It makes me laugh. That's how I get my fun out of sports because I'm not a huge like, oh, we lost, shucks, dang it, darn, I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, they lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but I respect the fan that does get really excited about it, and that's so
Hmm.
cool to see sometimes. Like sports for some people, it's their entire lives, and for some
Right.
people, it's all they have. I mean, you watch the World Cup, which is just the coolest
Yeah.
event. It is just amazing. I love the World Cup so much. And it's so amazing to see these tiny countries or these countries that, they were able to get into the field and how much that means to everybody back home. Like sports is the thing that just it transcends race and religion and political leanings. It is all about you and me. We're brothers, and I'm sitting next to you in a stadium. I don't know. I don't even know who you are. I've never met you before, but now you're
Right.
family because we root for the same team. That is, I mean, I love that. That's one of the reasons I love sports is that feeling of camaraderie.
See, I totally get that feeling if I'm at an event. I live in San Antonio, and so I've been to a couple of missions games, which is
Yeah.
they're
Okay. Yeah.
small,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're small baseball team. I'm not a baseball fan per se, but you go to a live sporting event, and then I want to see Paula Pena. Yes, bring him out there, and
Exactly.
I'm rooting for this guy who I've never heard of, but. And this guy, like you said, next to you is rooting, and it just it's to me, I do get way more invested being there versus just kind of sitting and watching it on Xbox or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of the goal of sports ball is that we want to get people excited about things that they maybe didn't know about before, and that's the feel we want to have on the show is that everybody come with us, come join us, like get on this train. We're going to take you to some fun places that you've probably never been before.
Well, I'd like to ask Sportsball, the name. How many names did it take for you to end up there?
You're not going to believe this, but one,
One. Okay.
one sports ball was a joke. Kind of a running joke in the company, just when it was when people would talk about sports, and that is the name right off the top that we named it, and we're like, all right, let's go with it. I mean, of course we mulled around a few other ideas,
Right.
but it stuck, it fits us.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that we're never going to try and do is that even though I have a sports background more than most of the guys here at Rooster Teeth and being a producer and a host for sports radio, um, we're not the experts. We're not gonna try and stuff our agenda down your throats. This is like coming to the bar with your buddies and hanging out, just talking about whatever. So I think sports ball fits that. We didn't want to be like, this is the expert show for only people who like serious sports show. Like fuck that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Like sports ball fits. It's just relaxed. It took us one try. We're like, yeah, we're gonna call it sports ball. Done. Boom. Let's move on to the next thing, right? So there you go.
Right on. And so for the people at home who want to check out the Sports Ball, where can they do that?
Sports ball can be found on YouTube.
Mhm.
It can also be found on iTunes. And of course, if you go to roosterteeth.com, you can find our show there. You usually have to be a sponsor to see the show live, and of course, the day after. But YouTube, it's free. iTunes, I don't know if it's free. I think it might be. I don't know. I should check that being the host of the show. Either way, I like people to watch it instead of listen. If you want to listen, it fits that format. But really go watch it. We have a lot of fun. We do skits. We have a lot of funny bits. We have random guests. I mean, the other day we had Joel Heyman on. We had John Reisinger. People just wander onto the set. You just never know. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
There you go. And before I let you go and do important work, I want to be your partner on the spot. I think you need a better partner. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I want to be your partner.
Awesome.
But I just want to thank you for talking with me while you're doing your crazy production stuff. I really appreciate it. I really do.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for reaching out. This was a blast. This was fun. I can't wait to listen to this, and I'm just happy to do it. I mean, this is what it's about. Is like we need more of this, more fan interaction, us talking to you, bridging that gap. So this was a lot of fun, and hope you can help us spread the word about Sportsball.
I absolutely will, and hashtag Browns Super Bowl, right? 2016.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen.
There we go.
Well, you have a good rest of your night, all right, man?
All right, hey, you too. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Bye-bye.